I'm over here today on this, the weather's amazing, but we're all here to rally in front of the Queens Borough Hall for RASA, Rally Against Sexual Assault. We've been invited to come to this rally every year to stand up against the violence and to raise awareness of this particularly type of issue that seems to still persist in 2025. But we're here, we're standing, and we listen. We believe the survivors, we are there for them, and this is a call out for the community to come out in support. So thank you to everyone that did come out today. Thank you for everyone that will come out in the future, and we hope to continue to see everyone working together for this important cause. Thank you. What is this rally supposed to be about?
April is actually the Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and each year KFSC's really fearless youth group called Youth Community Project Team hosts a rally against sexual assault, display arts that's related to the sexual assault, and also this year's theme is about bird. Bird represents the peace, and that's what they want for the survivors. So the theme is about the bird, the peace, and also uplifting the voices of the immigrant survivors of sexual violence.
What are some ways that community members can help out in not just raising awareness, but towards the work that you guys are trying to do here?
The organizations like KFSC exists because we have a 24-hour hotline that's bilingual in Korean and English, and we're able to serve these immigrant survivors, the Korean American survivors, in their own language, the culture that we are familiar with. So as the communities, if you know anyone who's seeking help, then please share our hotline. That's 24/7, 718-460-3800. I highly encourage for those who are seeking help to call us at any time. Everything's confidential, but also for those who know someone who's seeking help, please encourage them to call us.
What is the most important message we want to get through today with this rally?
오늘 같은 날은 되게 중요한 게 우선 가정상담소가 주최로 해서 하는 랠리지만 또 다른 분들이 많이 오십니다. 특히 officials and also the elected officials, the legislators, and also a lot of different communities of color who are serving the immigrant survivors of sexual violence. And we come together as a group, as a coalition to really amplify the voices of these immigrant survivors of sexual violence and their challenges. So I think it's really meaningful and also important to have this rally.
I do see there's a lot of youth that's gathered here today. Could you talk a little bit more about what these young people are here and the message being conveyed today?
Of course. So we always say this, youth is our future, and at KFSC we are committed that our youth takes a leadership role where they could lead a rally like this one. Our youth has a lot of different ideas. We didn't have to do anything for this rally. They did, from the planning to inviting everybody to really executing this beautiful artwork that they have developed. So we're very proud of our youth, and they have a lot to say. They are very passionate about this issue. We also believe in the female leadership, and a lot of our youth groups have female leaders, and we're very proud to have this rally together.
My name's Emily Miles. I'm the Executive Director of the New York City Alliance Against Sexual Assault. We work to prevent sexual violence and reduce the harm it causes through education, advocacy, and partnership with community-based organizations like KFSC. To the survivors that are out there that are seeing this, we know that 1 in 4 people who identify as women, 1 in 9 men have experienced sexual violence in their lifetime. So there are a number of survivors out there, and to those survivors that are listening, we hear you, we believe you, and there are organizations like KFSC out here that can provide services to you. And for others who are doing this work, this incredibly important work at a really challenging time when funding is getting cut, especially at the federal level, now is the time for us to join together and to create some solidarity among organizations so that we can push back together. if you are at home and you're looking to support this, find your local community-based organization that's doing this work like KFSC, see how you can volunteer, see how you can support. Survivors are everywhere and they require us to stand up for them and to believe them, and we can do that together.
Hello, my name is Sua. I'm a senior who's a part of the Youth Community Project team at the Korean American Family Service Center. Today's rally is a rally against sexual assault hosted by the Korean American Family Service Center. And today we're standing in solidarity with survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence. This issue is something that we feel as if that we need the youth to be more educated about. We want more people to be aware about the prevalence of sexual assault and domestic violence, especially in immigrant communities. One of the big takeaways I want people to know is that sexual assault is never the blame. Like, you can never put the blame on the victims. It is always the blame of the perpetuators, and it is never your fault. It is not the blame of anyone who's on what type of clothing they wear, and we just really need to stand in solidarity with survivors, and that's all we can do.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Jihae Fisher. I'm the Executive Director at the Korean American Family Service Center. Thank you for coming to our annual rally against sexual assault. This is really important, and I'm so proud of our youth community project team. So this is led by youth. We didn't have to do anything. But that's not really true. We did do something, but youth really led. Youth really did all the work. So thank you to all of you. We're going to, I know that some of the youth fellow is sharing this chain with the bird on, because this year's theme is about the bird and how the bird will escape from the cage and be free from the violence.
On the way over here, we were talking about KFSC and the work that KFSC does, and why I'm so proud to join so many of our elected colleagues, State Senator John Liu, Councilmember Linda Lee, and so many others in support of KFSC, in support of Jihae's leadership too. Because the truth is, this is a very, as we know, scary and difficult moment for us nationally, and extraordinarily unpredictable and chaotic here in New York City.
That's right.
And I see our commissioner is here too from DCWP. Very nice to see you, Commissioner Mayuga. But what gives me strength, and dare I say it, hope, to keep going, are organizations like this one, who are here every single day, serving our immigrant communities, serving immigrant women and mothers, standing together to break the silence and end the violence. And I know that our New York City Council, led by our incredible speaker, Adrienne Adams, who's here too, we are so staunchly committed to supporting KFSC and so many organizations like it, not only because of the work that you all are doing to end gender-based violence, to stand up and provide safe spaces, make sure that survivors have access to public benefits, to housing, a place they can go and feel safe. Not only are you doing that work, but KFSC is doing on top of that the work of supporting our Asian American communities. And we know that the stigma of gender-based violence, the stigma of fleeing unsafe situations in our communities is so great that oftentimes women are trapped in those situations simply because of that stigma. But the only way we are going to break it are organizations like KFSC, like each one of you here, that do the work to make sure that you all are providing services in our languages that are accessible to our cultures and communities, so women truly feel safe fleeing such dangerous situations. I know it personally because even when I've been out there in Jackson Heights, there are women who have come forward to me fearful of situations at home and not sure where to turn. But I know that I can always look to KFSC to make sure that the constituents of my community have the support and the services they need to feel safe. And for that, I'm extraordinarily grateful. You'll always have my support. I'm so humbled and honored to be here today with our Queens Borough President here at Borough Hall. Let's give him a big round of applause too. But we're all turning up here because we are so grateful for the work of KFSC and every organization here. In this difficult moment, you have our support now and always. Thank you for this recognition, but the truth is, you all give me the inspiration and strength to keep going. So thank you to our youth, thank you KFSC, thank you everyone here.
In partnership with the Korean American Family Service Center. And let's give it up for them and the work that they do. They have been such great allies on so many fronts, and I see our young people are here as well. But really important, as we know, April is Sexual Awareness Month, Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and a time when we come together as a community to break the silence, uplift survivors, and demand meaningful changes. And I want you to know, as your Queens Borough President, I witness the strength and resilience of our neighborhoods every single day, no matter what walk of life we come from. I'm so proud to represent the most diverse county in the United States of America. 190 countries, 360 languages are represented here. And let me say this, we see assaults on our values every single day. We see what's happening at the federal level, but one thing we will never do is lie down in Queens County. We will always fight for those who feel underrepresented. We will always fight and be a voice for those who feel silenced. And it's one of the reasons I launched when I got into office in 2021, the Gender Justice Initiative. And I was the first borough president to do so. And through our ongoing work as a Violence Against Women Act, in which is a federal grant, and which was actually taken from us by the Trump administration, and then subsequently, after a lawsuit, we were able to get that money back. So we are not lying down in Queens County. And, you know, the worst part about the grant being taken is that sexual assaults affects everyone. And the numbers are actually heartbreaking. According to RAIN, or Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, every 68 seconds, an American is sexually assaulted. And every 9 minutes, that victim is a child. It's completely unacceptable, and that's why we're here to stand together to speak out and take action. I'd like to thank my sister, Jihai Fisher. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. She's always so passionate. And of course, I want to thank the passionate efforts of their Youth Community Project team. Our youth, our future. You're going to make sure that this country and this borough and this city is a better place. Let's keep raising our voices, supporting one another, and working toward a future free from violence. Together we rally, together we break the silence, and together we end violence together. Congratulations. Let's keep fighting.
And break the silence. End the violence. Break the silence.
End the violence. Today's rally, and for the work that you all do year-round to support survivors and their families. Nationally, about 1 in 4 women and about 1 in 10 men are reported to have experienced sexual or physical violence by an intimate partner. Yet we know that cases are still vastly underreported due to the trauma and the stigma that is associated. To our survivors, you are not alone. What happened to you is not your fault. You are loved, truly loved. Addressing sexual assault is personal to our women majority city council. Some of us have actually lived this experience. And those who have not know or love a survivor. I spoke to one last night. We're proud that this council has consistently taken action to support survivors, never victims, but survivors. We've opened new trauma recovery centers in communities with the highest levels of violence and invested in community-based organizations like KAF is a tongue twister, it's still a tongue twister. KAFSC that provide critical services, especially for our diverse communities in Queens. And that means expanding access to cultural and language resources to empower survivors to speak out, to seek help, and to heal. By working together, we know we can create a society where survivors are believed, uplifted, and supported with the dignity and care they deserve. Survivors, we stand together. And I still know and love the hashtag, Believe Her. That hashtag was enacted some years ago. I don't want you to forget why that hashtag was enacted. I don't want you to forget the who either that hashtag followed. I will let your imaginations do what it does with relationship to that hashtag. But hashtag Believe Her. That's right. Survivors, we stand with you and for you always on this city council and my elected colleagues in government. We will never let you down. We will never let you fall. We will never let you stand alone, because in your strength of survival, we find our strength with you in unity and solidarity with you. You are not those who struggle. You are those who get up when others told you that you must struggle. You have stood up in the face of adversity when others wanted you to stay down in shame. You have stood up in the face of those who tried to stop you and torment you, but you knew inside that your own intestinal fortitude would carry you through, so that you would always be the survivors that were always innate and inside of you. Never forget who you are. Don't let anybody tell you that you have to look someplace else where your survival and your strength lies. Because brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, look no further than inside, and you will always find that strength. You know why? Because you were born with it.
At the New York City Alliance Against Sexual Assault, we work to prevent sexual violence and reduce the harm it causes through education, advocacy, and the strengthening of systems to support survivors of sexual violence. And central to this work is the belief that none of us can do this work alone. It takes partnership, it takes trust, it takes shared commitment to supporting every survivor, wherever they are, whoever they are, and however they show up. As we gather together for Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we come together at a time of profound challenge. Federal funding cuts are putting vital services at risk, services that survivors depend on, that communities have fought for, and that save lives. Times like this, all too often, it's organizations grounded in the community, those that are closest to the need and most reflective of the people that they serve, that are continuously asked to do more with less. And yet, what brings me here today and continues to give me hope is all of you, the many organizations that are doing this work every day, the community, the resilience, and the solidarity. Pushing back and protecting the progress that we've made means that we have to do this together. It means doubling down on collaboration, centering the wisdom and leadership of community-based organizations, and demanding equity. Equity in the access to services, equity in funding, and equity in whose voices are heard and valued. And on the funding piece, since we have some city council members here today, I do want to note that the only funding from the City of New York, the only funding that goes to support sexual violence services comes from City Council discretionary funding. So thank you to the speaker, thank you to the council members, and I also challenge you at a time where we are seeing more survivors coming forward to try to increase that funding, especially for our culturally specific organizations that are filling vital gaps in services for survivors who otherwise might not gain access to this service.
I'm here today because I am a survivor who struggled to find a voice and self-worth after experiencing sexual violence. The pain of abuse and violence were difficult to cope with, and I often felt alone, unlovable, and the only place where I felt safe and free was within the walls of my dance studio. where I could express myself without words and I could move my body and connect to it in a way that made me feel joy. Dancing allowed me to be present in my own body, which is something that many survivors struggle with after experiencing trauma. Dance gave me the opportunity to create something beautiful and reclaim my body as a place of safety, beauty, and no longer a battleground of scars and violence. Dance and movement became everything to me, adding yoga, breathwork, meditation to my daily practice, as well as going to therapy and working hard to heal, recover, and rediscover joy. As I continued on my journey, I wanted to share the healing that I had found through movement with others. So I began Gracious Dance, where I started empowerment programs for survivors of sexual and domestic violence and interpersonal violence, where we build safety, community, and facilitate movement, dance, meditation, and breathwork exercises. I shared about my healing experiences and how much dance has helped me on social media, and the program started to grow. There has been media attention, articles, news stories, and I have gotten to speak at schools, colleges, and churches. And now I have the privilege of standing in front of you all today. I was so touched to be asked to be here. It is such an honor to be picked by this youth organization who is already so passionate about advocacy and justice for survivors. My message to you is one of encouragement. It's a reminder that you are already changing the world, and there will be lots of challenges and lots of oppression, as many of the speakers have already spoken about today. I've faced it myself at many times. There are days where it feels too heavy to press on, or like obstacles are too difficult to overcome. It may feel like your voice doesn't matter or your impact is too small. But I am here to tell you that is not the case. Your voice matters. Your impact goes beyond what you realize, and it sends ripples of healing to people you might never know. When I first started sharing my ideas and speaking up, I was met with a lot of voices of people telling me what I was doing didn't matter, and I had so much anxiety, at times it felt impossible to get the words out. But I knew in my heart what I had to say was important, and I knew what I was doing mattered. As a young survivor, searching for community and healing, and someone else to understand what I had gone through, I searched and searched, but I couldn't find it anywhere, so I created it. I told myself that if I just made a difference to one person, then it was worth doing. Now here I stand in front of a lot more than one person, using my voice, sharing my story, and encouraging you to do the same. Continue to create and build community. Continue to use your voice and amplify the voices of others. Continue to create safety, even when it is difficult. Trust that the ripples of your impact are not always seen right away, but they are making a difference. Even just reminding someone that they are not alone in their suffering creates an impact that stretches beyond ourselves. The ripples you are creating turn into waves of change. As we unite, use our voices and talents to speak out against violence, know that those waves expand beyond what we could ever imagine. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for showing up for survivors and inviting me to be a part of something so special.
This rally is a poignant reminder of the work being done and the work left to be done to ensure that every New Yorker feels safe in their own home, in their relationships, and in their community. Keeping that in mind, today, the Senator is sending an inquiry letter to the Department of Justice and the Attorney General regarding funding that goes directly to the kinds of services KFSC provides through the Office on Violence Against Women, including questions relating to pauses and notices of funding opportunities and renewal applications. The work must continue. Now, the work KFSC does is truly groundbreaking work in language accessibility and cultural competence. Work with survivors of gender-based violence in our communities at large should always be considered a call to action for the rest of us. Thank you for all the work you do and your leadership in advocating for our most vulnerable. Your voice is critical now more than ever.
In Albany, I have been proud to push forward the Child Victims Act, the Adult Survivors Act, and now I am carrying legislation to ensure that those who have been abused while incarcerated have the ability to seek justice when they come out. I'm not sure how many people know this, but there is a statute of limitations that basically prevents anyone who has been incarcerated, who has had to endure endure that pain from seeking justice when they come out, not only because by the time they're out, they still have to process all of that pain, but because the law requires notice to the state or whoever, or the city that you're suing within 90 days. And Senator Salazar, a fellow survivor, and I teamed up together to make sure that the thousands of women, men, and especially our trans community, because y'all are so brave. And can we get a round of applause for them? Because they are attacked inside, outside, in their own families, and they're always standing with us to make sure that we are pushing forward these issues. And so we're hoping to pass it this year, because if the Adult Survivors Act showed us is that for every single one of those 800 people that came forward to file a suit against our correction system, there's 10 or 20 more who haven't been able to do it. So we're going to get that done. And there's the money and the funding, and you can't throw money at it all the time, but can't we? We need to throw money at it all the time, especially now, because while the federal government continues to take away money from basic services, from life-saving services, we at the state, and we're working through the budget now, we're going to make sure that services like survivor services are not left behind and are prioritized, because these are life-saving services. So thank you for inviting me. Thank you for being here. And the fight continues, because unfortunately there are too many of us who have survived, and we're going to help others do the same. Thank you.
Good to see everybody today. I'm so honored to join and stand with you. Like Assemblymember Cruz said, we're here from Albany. We're fighting for the budget to make sure these services and resources are kept, making sure our community is always taken care of, and also support the bills and legislation to make sure that these laws keep protecting our community and that we are fighting this ignorance. So thank you so much to our partners. Thank you for the youth that keep on pushing this every year. It's so important. You're setting such a great example of not just how to highlight survivors, but how we should work as a community across Queens, across the city, and across the state, and also doing it collectively. So thank you so much. You set such a great example of not just here in the world's borough, but also intergenerationally. This is how we should be moving forward as New York. This is how, as advocates, we should be advocating for our communities, and this is how we get our voices heard. So thank you so much. I'm always happy to stand side by side with you to make sure we're protecting our communities, increasing our rights, and increasing our power as a community here. Thanks so much to all our partners, our advocates, our colleagues in government that are always pushing and supporting this, even in the back rooms when the cameras and everyone's at home. We make sure this is an issue that's prioritized, an issue that is fought for, and we make sure that everyone here in New York knows we stand by our survivors. So thank you so much, and happy to always come in and support.
I'm also here, other than an elected official, I'm also here as an Asian woman. Every day I go through the newspaper and I see violence perpetrated by an intimate partner, and it really breaks my heart, because I don't think people recognize that's what it is. It's violence perpetrated by someone you trust, someone that you love, someone you think would never do this to you. So I'm standing here as an Asian woman knowing I grew up in a culture where people just do not talk about these things, and if it does happen, somehow it's your fault, that you have to take some responsibility in what happens. So I'm standing here also reaching out to all those people out there. If you're in this situation, it is not your fault, it is not your responsibility, and you have so many amazing groups, advocates here who could help you. So I encourage everybody, also to spread that message. This is so important that we have this event every single year, but the truth is we do have this event every single year. So I stand with all of you, and you know what? It's just we'll all work together to eradicate the violence. Thank you so much.
We used to partner a lot with a lot of you here that are standing alongside our advocates and our survivors, and I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I don't think folks really truly understand how difficult this work is, because we are talking about a community, as my colleague Sandra Ung just mentioned, that is afraid to speak up. There's so much stigma, there is so much shame, and a lot of our immigrant communities come from communities and cultures where it is so shameful and painful to talk about this, and because we are very familial, you also don't want to bring shame on your family, right? There's that pressure. And I just want to say that, you know, there's so many groups here that are doing the incredible work of not just reaching out to the community and having them come into the light, but then on top of that, you got to find folks who speak the languages, who understand the culture, to then work with folks in our community in that healing process. And then on top of that, you have folks like us in government, hopefully, that are not putting challenging policies in place, but sometimes we do, right? And then on top of that, you have funding challenges. And you know, I was talking with Sandra on the side, and yes, it's amazing that as a majority women council, we're providing funding for these programs, but it's also sad that we're the only ones providing funding for these programs, right? And so, yes, we will continue to do as much as we can, but it falls so short of the resources that we need. And so that is why we come here every year. I brought my 2 boys. It's so crazy. My memories on Facebook, yes, I'm aging myself. My memories on Facebook popped up, and I was pregnant here, standing on Borough Hall with my first son, who's now turning 11. So my 2 boys are somewhere over there, but I bring them to these things because I want them to also understand. Hopefully they'll learn by osmosis and just being here and listening, right? That they, you know, what it means. Oh, hey, what it means to be good partners, and you know, God willing, Lord willing, inshallah, right? I will be able to raise my sons to be great examples and partners for whoever they end up with in life later, and that is something that I, as a mom, feel very strongly about. And so we will continue to stand with you, with the youth, with our partners in the community, to make sure that we end the violence and that we break the silence, and also get that money continually flowing, because we need that. So we'll try to fight for that every day at City Hall. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to give a big shout out to CBOs who are here today, because we do the work right on the ground. Caribbean Equality Project, Chinese American Planning Council, Korean American Civic Empowerment, Asian American Federation, Korean Community Services of Metropolitan New York, OCA-NY, Safe Horizons, Sanctuary for Families, the Healing Center, Turning Point for Women and Families, Women for African Women, Satiyatu, Womankind, and VIP. Woo! So, and Communities Resist. Sorry, I didn't see you.
I'm excited that there's so much youth here, because we really want to make sure that our youth help us. You're really good with social media also, so I'm very creative on getting the message out. And there are, as we continue to advocate for services, I want to raise 2 that are existing, and we want to make sure that we'll get the word out on them, and you help us make sure that people feel powerful and with the strength and support them to come forward and use the services. And the first one is that at our agency, DCWP, Consumer and Worker Protection, we enforce the paid save and sick leave law. And a lot of people are aware of the sick part of the paid save and sick leave. I think I say this every year at this event, and I really hope that we can continue getting the word out, because this very same law allows time to be used to keep you safe. Safe. If you or someone close to you is a survivor of any act or threat of domestic violence, unwanted sexual contact, stalking, or human trafficking. And also, people should know that, what does that mean to have this right? Is that you get up to 56 hours of leave. And most people, unless you're working for someone that has between 1 and 4 employees, it's paid leave. So I want to make sure that we're really aware of that, and we continue spreading the word about that right, so individuals, as they try to figure things out and come out of this horrible situation, they can be still paid while they seek the services to be safe. And the other piece that I want to talk about is the financial empowerment services, because as I said, right, we all know how much this can impact someone's finances. And we do have financial empowerment centers throughout the 5 boroughs. Those services right now are for anybody 18 and up who lives or works in New York, and you can make an appointment, you can sit down with someone and try to figure out how to be able to be on your own and how to move forward and reach your goals financially. So I really urge everyone to call 311, just visit at nyc.gov/DCWP. My colleagues Mohammed here and Susan have some flyers about the rights through our agency, so please do take a flyer, take your time to read it, share it with others, take a photo, share it in social media. Don't keep it to yourself. You're here because you're aware. But those who are not here, those are the ones that we need to reach. So let's use our voices, break that silence. Thank you so much.
Especially I'm here to say, if you or someone you know is a survivor of sexual assault, we're here for you. We believe you and we honor your strength. And we're here to support you when you're ready to ask for help. The Queens Family Justice Center and here and all the other FJCs across the city provide free and confidential services for survivors of gender-based violence, including sexual assault. You can walk in without an appointment Monday to Friday and to receive services regardless of your age, gender, immigration status, income, and sexual orientation. Thank you again, Korean American Family Service Center, for your work and your leadership in the community. We know there are services, but as a woman of immigrant, as an immigrant woman and living in such a diverse community, providing culturally specific services is really key. So we are just so honored for you to have you as a partner, and we really cannot do the work without you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Youth Community Project Team, you are amazing. Your sweatshirts are amazing. Your signs are amazing. The games and the trivia, it's absolutely incredible. And to all the young men and the young women, all the young people here today, your leadership skills are shining through. You still have those signs held high after how many speakers? Like, I am so proud of you. Commissioner Howard and DYCD stand with you in your rally against sexual assault. You are making a difference when you speak out about sexual assault with your peers, with your family, in your communities, when you support prevention through awareness and training, when you encourage reporting and support for those who are impacted. Thank you for your leadership. We are all honored to be here with you today and your community, and for all the people here taking the mic to speak out against sexual assault. I'm so honored to be with you. Please keep up the good work.
We thank and acknowledge everyone present here today for the RASA rally. It is so important, and CGE is proud to be here in solidarity with survivors and you all to call for an end to sexual violence and gender-based violence. In spirit with this year's theme, Solidarity and Change, I want New Yorkers to know help is available. Together, we can create change. If you or somebody you know is looking for support, you can check out the End Street Harassment Resource Guide and the Gender-Based Violence Toolkit on CGE's website, nyc.gov/CGE. Resources and support are available. So to close out, I just want to do a little chant to get everybody's energy up here. We're almost done. So let's all say together, hey, hey, ho, ho, sexual violence got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho, sexual violence got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho, sexual violence got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho, sexual violence has got to go.
And we are an immigrant rights organization that advocates for and represents Afro and Indo-Caribbean LGBTQ+ New Yorkers. I stand proud before you to say I am a trans woman, an immigrant, and an asylum seeker, and also I am a survivor of sexual assault. I'm here to speak the truth. I'm here to shout what too many try to silence. Sexual violence is a crisis that every community faces, but LGBTQ+ people, particularly trans women, gender non-conforming folks, and people of color experience disproportionate levels of harm. These are not just statistics. These are our friends, our family, our neighbors. And too often, their stories are silenced by stigma, by fear, and by systems that erase us, shame us, and fail to protect us. Let's be real, y'all. When survivors come forward, they're met with disbelief. When we seek help, we face judgment. And when we ask for justice, we're often met with silence. That's not just a failure, that's violence as well. But we are not victims. We are survivors. We are fighters. And today we demand more. So what does that mean? It means funding LGBTQ plus affirming shelters and trauma-informed care. It means training police, if they are to be involved at all, in how to interact with LGBTQ plus survivors with respect and understanding. Or better yet, investing in community-led alternatives to safety and support. It means believing survivors, and it means amplifying their voices at every decision-making table. We demand real accountability, not just for individuals, but for the institutions that continue to turn a blind eye.
That's right, Tiffany.
So I'm going to close out now, because I want you all to know we are building a world where survivors are believed, where healing is prioritized, and where no one is left behind. So if you're a survivor, you are loved, you are powerful, and we will continue to fight for you. And I want everyone to say this with me. When I say no more silence, no more shame, you're going to say trans lives won't be blamed. No more silence, no more shame.
Trans lives won't be blamed.
No more silence, no more shame.
Trans lives won't be blamed.
No more silence, no more shame.
Trans lives won't be blamed.
So every October is the Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We do a silent march, and April is the rally against sexual assault, and we have a lot of speakers. And sometimes I get questions, why do you have so many questions? I mean, why do you have so many speakers? But because we need to speak out together. So we're not going to say no who would like to speak out on the issues that are so important to the immigrant survivors of gender-based violence. It's my pleasure to introduce former New York City Council member and also the board of the New York City Alliance Against Sexual Assault, Helen Rosenthal.
Thank you. That's very nice. So this is going to be fast. I'm a former member of the New York City Council. I chaired the Committee on Women and Gender Equity, and at that time knew that the most important groups in New York City are the rape crisis centers.
That's right.
The most important groups. And I made sure that because New York City government does not give them any funding for their sexual assault work, that the city council would always have their back. And we did. And the current city council still does. So I'm going to ask everyone here to do two things after this rally. One, congratulate yourself. This is a hell of a great rally. The art, the posters, everyone here. Promise me. Number two, promise me you will go home and find your local city council member and call them to thank them for funding all of the different centers, from Korean American Family Service Center to AVP to Saki, all of them. So I'm begging, raise your hand if you're hearing me. Call your city council member and thank them for funding these programs. If you can remember 3 more words, it's called the Sexual Assault Initiative, SAI. Thank them.
And I know that gender-based violence is not just one gender specific, but it's never lost on me that if it wasn't viewed as dominated by women as victims, I think we would have gone a lot further. So we have to call that out, and I try my best to do so. And so I want to be a part of whatever is needed to affirm victims and provide the support that's needed, from the precinct to the courthouse. And as public advocate, my office works with whomever is going to help do that. And I'm sorry that we continue to have to be here, but I am also needing to call out the fact that our immigrant communities are leading the way, because in immigrant communities, for far too long, people have suffered in silence. Particularly our women have suffered in silence. I am a child of immigrants, so I understand sometimes the shame and the stigma that comes with those. So congratulations to you, the leaders of these immigrant communities, particularly our young people, for coming out and stepping forward. There are no real changes that usually occur without our young people, and so I want to us who are a little bit older, want to make sure that we encourage the courage and energy of our young people. Sometimes we get older and we start to lose it, and we kind of push it away from our young people. But thank you so much. This is such an important issue. We have such a long way to go to eliminate gender-based discrimination and violence, and our court system and our police department has to do that much more to get us there. So thank you so much for being here. And the victims, thank you. Some are out front, some are in silence. But when they see more and more people stepping out, more and more resources, it gives them courage. So you have no idea who's here listening now, who's suffering in silence, that may just get that courage needed because they came to this rally. Thank you so much. Peace and blessing, love and light to you.
I also want to say thank you to KFSC and GHA for your leadership and inspiration that you give our community today. Not only does KFSC give shelter and protection and support to survivors, but they go on to empower them and to put them up to thrive, to make sure that they are getting job training, make sure that they are getting better economic situations, and for their children too. And on all those fronts, we're so happy and proud to work with KFSC on multiple projects together to witness the power of empowering our community and our survivors together.
Let's take a moment to give a big round of applause to KFSC and of course their amazing young individual who have worked tirelessly to bring attention to this issue of sexual assault. Your courage, your voice, and your dedication are making a difference. Just look at all of us here now. And as CPC, we stand with you in condemning the action of those who place their own desire above respect and consent. Let's be clear, no is a complete sentence. There's no hidden meaning and no room for interpretation. Stop assuming you can read between the lines. Stop justifying harm because you refuse to accept no as an answer. And to our survivors, we see you. We honor your resilience and your strength and your will to keep pushing forward. And to those who are still in the shadows, know this, you're not alone. Our community is here. We are many, and we are listening. Your no matters, your voice matters, and the violence?
Break the silence.
Let's try that again. End the violence?
Break the silence.
Break the silence.
End the violence.
We hear you.
You are loved.
We believe you.
You are loved.
We support you.
You are loved.
We're all gathered here today because of this very important cause of raising awareness of this horrible thing called sexual assault, right? Gender-based violence, intimate partner violence, all this ugliness that we see in society, and it's unfortunate that we still continue to see this in 2025. But I've been coming to these rallies for the past few years, going to the marches alongside with KFSC, and it's been a growing coalition of people joined in solidarity to stand up against this violence. Now, me personally, before I worked at Korean American Civic Empowerment, I used to work at another nonprofit where we worked for middle-income persons, and it was sad to say that more than half of my clientele were survivors of gender-based violence. And the issues don't just stop at the criminal courts when the prosecution is able to prove the case and the person's convicted and they serve time. That's not where the story ends, because for a lot of survivors, there are so many other issues that go alongside, and I got to learn that firsthand by working with my clients. Now, there's so many different issues out there, but the fact that there's so many people out here in support to help people, providing assistance with food, assistance with jobs, or assistance in just support and listening. One of the most important things that my clients have told me that really helped them to move forward in their lives is to have somebody to sit down, to listen to them in a safe environment, and to believe them. So I think that's the most important thing that we can all do, is to listen to these survivors, because one of the bravest things that you can do in these scenarios is to come forth and tell the truth, because there's so much fear behind it. Fear that someone might not believe you. Fear that somebody will try to discredit you or warp the story. You know, there's the countless times of people saying, well, what were you wearing? Were you drinking? Were you doing all these other things? No, those are not, that does not excuse the horrible, horrible thing that is sexual assault and violence. That does not, we need to stop victim blaming, and we need to start believing the survivors so that they can start surviving and they can start thriving and they can, you know, be made whole, whatever that may be for that individual. So thank you all for coming here today. I'm very encouraged, especially with the, you know, the YCPT, what does it stand for? Youth Community, sorry? Youth Community Project Team. Gotcha. I only knew the acronym, so I was like, wait, what does it stand for? But anyway, I'm very encouraged because every time I come here, there's like more and more of you each year, right? They say the youth is our future. I say our youth is our present and our now. And you guys are making a huge difference, and thank you so much for organizing all of this and for making it such an even bigger event each and every year. I'm excited for what's going to happen next year. I don't know if we're going to be here, be inside, we're going to be in some bigger venue. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it because you guys do so much important community work alongside with the rest of us. So thank you very much for that. We'll end with a chant. Break the silence. Break the silence. Break the silence. Thank you.
Good morning. Say good morning. Where's Jie? I'm here because of the Jie, to be honest. Because she's my sister. She is my friend. She is my mentor and honor. Because during the pandemic, she and I, in the morning and the night, we have to talk. And how can we lead this organization, especially the nonprofit? Right now, same situation before pandemic. It's not only Jie and me, a lot of CBO. We have struggling. Many of the councilmen, women talked that before funding issue, but we are working together. I'm here. I really want to say sexual assault is not acceptable. Everyone should feel safe. We must speak up. We must speak up. Help each other and be kind. Stop. Everybody stop violence and protect one the other. Thank you so much, Jie, KAFSC, whole staff, especially young generation, our next heroes. Thank you so much today. Thank you, thank you.
I stand before you as a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, a survivor who, like so many others, carried the weight of silence for decades. I was 40 years old when I finally found the courage to disclose the abuse that had affected me physically, emotionally, and mentally for so long. I'm now 42. The shame and secrecy kept me in silence for so long, but today, I am not silent. We cannot be silent. I stand here to say to every survivor that you are not alone. Sharing your story holds great power, and healing brings incredible strength. To the Korean American Family Service Center, your work to prevent gender-based violence and empower youth is more important now than ever. I applaud your Youth Community Project team for committing to building a future where all people can live without fear. Together, we can break the chains of silence and ensure that survivors are heard, believed, and supported today and always. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon all. My name is Melissa Baez. I'm the domestic violence advocate at the 109 Precinct, located in Flushing, Union Street, Main Street area. I'm here representing Safe Horizon in the Crime Victim Assistance Program. where we support victims of crime and domestic violence. I want to thank and give a huge shout out to the Korean American Family Service Center on having us here, as well with our collaborative efforts to bring awareness to this important issue. Thank you. And the domestic violence hotline is 1-800-621-4673. Thank you.
In this tumultuous and uncertain time, we increasingly seek community and support from those around us. And as domestic violence service providers, this sense of unity and almost camaraderie, paired with coalition building among like-minded agencies with the shared goal of providing quality care and advocating for human rights, is especially important. Sanctuary for Families is a domestic violence service provider located in 5 boroughs of New York City. We bring essential services to survivors of intimate partner violence and, survivors of intimate partner violence and sex trafficking across the city, including legal representation, mental health counseling, professional development, survivor leadership building, and more. We believe that freedom from gender-based violence is a basic human right. We consistently collaborate with community-based organizations such as KFFC to reach as many marginalized and underserved populations as possible, because we understand that gender-based violence exists in all communities and it is embedded in our cultures, traditions, history, language, and institutions. And in particular, sexual violence can utterly decimate the very essence of personhood. Survivors are abused and exploited to the point of questioning and even ceasing to believe in their own agency. And I could speak at length about the intricate systems that perpetuate such violence and put survivors and our clients in grave danger. But today I urge you to simply speak about this issue, and most importantly, to listen to our survivors. Our work is necessarily informed by the needs of our clients, and to continue raising awareness and bringing essential services, we must unconditionally listen and figure out creative, thoughtful ways to support survivors. Listen when they tell you they are hurt, dehumanized, and in destitution because they want to tell their stories and they want to feel human again. This is a strength of survivors, their incredible resilience. We are consistently in awe of the sheer strength of survivors that they show, the grace they exhibit as they navigate the complex court processes, the care they show towards their children and families. We are informed and fueled by survivor experiences, and with this strong network of community-based organizations that share core values, we can and we will continue to serve New York City and beyond. Thank you again to KFSC, YCPT, for inviting us and creating a space where we can all discuss this important issue and stand in solidarity. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Tammy Teles, the sexual assault advocate at the Healing Center. We are located in the south of Brooklyn, but we make this commute all the way to Queens because we believe that these events in the community inspire, raise awareness and education in our community, and we all have one common ground, which is that no survivor deserves what happened to them. I want to thank the Korean American Family Service Center and their youth for putting this event together. This month is not always easy for survivors of sexual assault, but this month should not only be about education and awareness, but to honor all the survivors who were not believed, who were not heard, and who did not receive the justice that they deserved. The Healing Center stands with survivors every day. We believe you, we see you, and we hear you. Let's stop blaming the survivor. Let's stop asking what were you wearing or how much did you have to drink. And let's start asking the offender to take accountability. You matter and your experience matters. And this is why the Healing Center is hosting their 13th annual walk against teen dating violence next Saturday, and we are marching across the Brooklyn Bridge. We invite all teens, community, organizations, and families to come and join us. Thank you.
I'm here with my team today, and we would like to thank the KFSC and especially the YCPT and the Queens Borough President's Office as well for inviting us to this year's rally. And what a wonderful turnout it has been today. What a wonderful, beautiful sunny day. Just to give a little bit of background as to who we are, Turning Point is a nonprofit organization with a particular commitment to provide culturally and linguistically responsive services to the Muslim diaspora in New York City. Founded in 2004, we are committed to combating domestic violence, fostering healthy families through holistic support, and empowering Muslim women in all stages of life. We offer direct services and educational empowerment programs to survivors of domestic violence, senior women, and youth. As a service provider to survivors, we frequently encounter clients who have experienced sexual assault. This, unfortunately, is not surprising, as statistics show that 1 out of 6 American women experience a completed or attempted rape. This also extends to the communities that we serve at Turning Point, as 1 out of 8 Muslim women surveyed from our own communities have also reported to have been a survivor of rape. After a sexual assault, it is hard to know how to react. You may be physically hurt, emotionally drained, or unsure of what to do next. You may be considering working with the criminal justice system, but are unsure of where to start. Learning more about what steps you can take following sexual violence can help ground you in a difficult time. Recovering from sexual assault or abuse is also a process. That process looks different for everybody. It may take weeks, months, or even years. There's no timetable for healing. At Turning Point, our DV counselors are trained to provide guidance to help survivors navigate the process. We are also committed to work alongside the larger community to achieve the ultimate vision for a future free of violence and abundant with joy, healing, and justice for all survivors within our communities. Thank you.
I stand before you today carrying the strength and resilience of the countless survivors from my community. At WALL, we serve immigrants, refugees, and survivors of gender-based violence every single day, many of whom have carried the weight of their trauma across borders and through systems here in the U.S. that often fail to protect them. As the only Afghan woman-led organization on the East Coast, we are deeply committed to educating and spreading awareness in culturally competent ways. Through our adult and youth programs, we integrate sexual assault awareness trainings and workshops. This equips the women and youth in our community with the understanding to know that help is available for survivors. We are proud to stand with the organizations here today who do similar work. Together we show communities across the city that they are not alone. This month and every day we say loud and clear that sexual assault has no place in our communities. We at Women for Afghan Women are here to proudly say to survivors, we believe you, we support you, and we will continue to stand with you.
We will now have KFSC's Youth Community Project team present what they have been working on for the last several months.
First up, we have our communications team who has spent many grueling hours in the last several months typing away emails and invitations. We have Emily Lynn from the comms team.
Sexual assault, although so pervasive in society, isn't discussed enough. Like other forms of abuse, sexual assault breaks down your character. It dehumanizes people. It leaves the victim feeling more ashamed than the perpetrator. To fight against sexual assault, the communications team at YCBT has been working tirelessly to connect with survivors of sexual violence and push for more advocacy within the community. We've invited elected officials, school clubs, and guest speakers to come here today to acknowledge the horrors that exist behind closed doors. For this year's RASA, we've decided on a theme of birds to symbolize hope and new beginnings as we soar in solidarity. Although almost everything else discriminates, violence doesn't. I've learned that through stories and through experience. I have a 7-year-old sister, and it is the most heartbreaking thing in the world when I hear her say that she's scared of going outside because of the bad people. Even at such a young age, children are taught that the world is full of people who commit heinous acts. They are taught to be scared, to protect themselves, and to avoid the dark alleyways at night. But these lessons shouldn't have to be taught. but they do, because we live in a society where sexual violence goes unnoticed. For every one person that shares their story, there are hundreds more unspoken. That's why I advocate and speak out for the people who aren't given the opportunity to do so. I wish for a world where my little sister doesn't have to worry about going outside alone at night. I wish for a world where people can go to school without having to worry about getting assaulted. I want to fight for a world without violence. I hope you'll join the fight too. Before I end my speech, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Sua and Mohammed for leading the communications team and guiding us through thick and thin. Gio and Eric for staying up countless nights to write emails, organize the different teams, and track our progress throughout the weeks. And you guys, for joining us here today to fight against sexual violence. Thank you.
Now we will have our amazing marketing team present a new addition to our rally. If you haven't already, make sure to check it out after the rally. Here is Grace.
Hi everyone, I'm Grace, and this is Cynthia behind our interactive game. And before the speech, I want to quickly introduce our interactive game that you can play after the rally's finished. Essentially, it's called Trips of Truth, and it's a ping pong game where you throw a ping pong ball into one of the cups, and if you get into one of the cups, you get a fact, and the fact is about a community organization or movements that's done countless amounts of outreach and advocacy for victims of sexual assault. And so I hope after the rally you guys can play. So as young advocates, we believe outreach is one of the most powerful tools we have in the fight against sexual assault. That's why we took charge of spreading awareness, designing posters, planning interactive activities like the bird painting collage and the ping pong game, and making sure that both students and community members know where to turn for support. These interactive games aren't just fun. They make information accessible. They invite people in, spark conversations, and help break the silence surrounding sexual assault. Whether you're a student, a passerby, or an elected official, you have a role to play in supporting survivors and making resources more visible. The marketing team poured their heart and soul into these activities, especially Lexus, who, though isn't here, spent hours upon designing our engaging marketing game. As youth, we know that too often, important information stays hidden or feels out of reach. But we refuse to let that happen. We believe that everyone deserves to know that, despite the pain and challenges of societal issues like sexual assault, there are people who care, who listen, and are ready to help. So today, we ask you, don't just listen. Engage, learn, and spread the word. Join us in making sure that no one feels alone, because advocacy isn't just about speaking, but it's about making sure that every voice is heard. Thank you.
And now the team I wouldn't have personally chosen, no shade, the research team, which was in charge of accumulating important information for our youth. Here we have Michelle and Erica.
Hello everyone. You guys all look very tired today. It's okay, because every one of you standing here represent a voice, the silence that survivors have to go through. Please remember that. We, the research team of YCPT, are here today to share the voices of our peers and act as a courage, a sign of bravery for survivors of sexual assault. What we learned together during our time at YCPT is not only powerful, but also shows where we still need to do better. One of the biggest myths that YCPT youth have discussed is the myth that sexual assault is like the violent attacks we see in the movies, when in reality, it's often subtle. It can be a suggested comment, making someone uncomfortable. Someone using power, intimidation, coercion to violate another person. How often do we hear they were asking for it? It could have been all avoided. These comments silence survivors, forcing them to question if their stories are valid. But I want to say this very clearly. Every story is valid. If it was unwanted, non-consensual, if it made someone feel unsafe, it is sexual assault. We have recognized as a group that many troubling conceptions continue to surround us. For example, the belief that what someone wears can invite sexual assault, despite the awareness raised by the Me Too movement, still persists. We know that harmful patterns about victim blaming are still deeply ingrained, especially among youth today. Additionally, there is still a belief in our society that sexual assault is something committed by strangers, when 80 to 90% of cases involve someone the victim knows. A partner, a relative, a friend. We learned that false reports of sexual assault are rare, only 2 to 8% of cases, according to the National Center for the Prosecution of Violence Against Women. This challenges the myth that false accusations are common and shows how such beliefs make it harder and harder for survivors to speak up. Even in advocacy groups like ours dedicated to this issue, these myths can still shape how we think and talk. That's why it is crucial to keep on learning, spreading the truth. Stories of survivors deserve to be heard, not to be stepped on. Throughout our journey of learning about sexual assault awareness, we realized that even as youth advocates against sexual and gender-based violence, some of us didn't recognize our own victim-blaming perspectives until joining YCPD workshops. Not everybody initially disagreed with myths like if a person was drinking, they are partly responsible for being assaulted. Some of us also didn't understand why Italian Supreme Court's decision linking tight jeans to consent was so problematic when first learning about denim day. These moments reminded us of the importance of reflection, questioning our thinking, and recommitting to challenging the harmful ideas so we can open the cage for survivors. Lastly, we acknowledge a real gap in understanding when someone is experiencing abuse and where to turn for help. Many students struggle to recognize signs of abuse or didn't know what resources were available around us. This is something we can fix, but only if we continue to educate ourselves and our peers and what to look out for and how to support those in need. Please remember, you are not alone and there is someone to help you.
So what can we do? We don't have to be bystanders. We have the power to change the culture around us, one where silence protects predators and blames victims. We can be the generation that refuses to accept this any longer. It starts with each of us. We need to stop making excuses for behaviors of others and start holding them accountable. We need to speak out when we see something wrong. We need to stand up for those who are too afraid to speak for themselves. But we also need to take responsibility for our own actions and the way we treat others. Whether it's respecting boundaries, understanding consent, or being more mindful of our words. It's not just about knowing what to do in dangerous situations. It's about changing the way we think, challenging those deep-seated beliefs that have been passed down for generations. We need to stop asking, what were they wearing? And start asking, why did they think they could do that? We need to stop asking, why didn't they report it? And start asking, how can we create a world where survivors feel safe to speak out? Together, we can create a shift, a movement where survivors aren't blamed but believed, a society where consent is understood, not questioned, a culture where respect, dignity, and care for one another are the foundations of how we interact. It starts here with us. Every single person in this place has the power to make a change, to educate, to raise awareness, to challenge those harmful comments when we hear them. The actions we take today ripple through the future. We are the future. And if we are going to stop the cycle of violence, we need to stop letting harmful attitudes go unchallenged. So what can we do? We can create a culture of accountability, not excuses. We can make sure no one feels alone when they speak up. We can hold each other to a higher standard. This isn't just a fight for a safer world. It's a fight for a world where every single person can live without shame or fear, where every survivor can heal. This is our moment, and let's take it. I want to thank all of the research members, Asela, Hikai, Michael, Michelle, Soyeon, Arvin, and Yona for all of their hard work.
Before we move on to our next team, we wanted to say that as many of you participated in the interactive board about the percentages regarding sexual assault, some of you may have guessed or some of you may have already known the numbers. However, it's important to remember, as the NYPD reports, that these numbers can fluctuate significantly.
Many cases go unreported, and we all saw how the number of reports increased after the #MeToo movement. This reminds us why it's so crucial to build a social society that does not further victimize survivors, but instead supports, empowers, and amplifies their voices.
And now we will move on to one half of our creative backbone, our very own crafts team, who you may have seen passing out the keychains. Please welcome the craft team.
The themes throughout every RASA have always reflected the common message of hope. Hope for struggling, desperate survivors, and hope for the uncertain future. The birds you see here today, courtesy of the crafts team, represent this hope and light we hope to bring during these uncertain times to survivors. We hope that these birds here today encourage survivors to come into the light and share their empowering stories of overcoming their greatest fears amidst great adversity. These birds aren't just a symbol, but a message and a statement of YCPT's ongoing mission against sexual assault.
The birds soaring in the sky represent the freedom. The birds soaring in the sky represent the freedom survivors deserve. For many, the journey out of abuse can feel like escaping a cage. We believe that survivors can relate to the birds as they are free from their cages, like how the survivors are liberated from their trauma. We handed these out to all of you today to show the collective strength of survivors and supporters. Birds don't fly. Thank you. Birds don't fly alone. They travel in flocks, supporting one another throughout the journey. In the same way, survivors need a community that shows up, listens, and cares. I hope everyone here can be part of that support. Let's keep fighting together to end domestic abuse. Before we go, we want to leave you with something powerful, something that brings us together, something we could say out loud as one voice.
This chant is a reminder of what we're fighting for and who we're standing with. The chant is, break the chains, end the pain.
Now, let's say it together. I'll start and you follow. Break the chains.
End the pain.
Break the chains.
End the pain.
One last time. Break the chains.
End the pain.
Thank you.
And now welcome the other half of our creative backbone, the art team, whose posters you have been admiring. Welcome Sarah and Luna.
We tend to refer to people who have experienced domestic violence or sexual assault as victims, but their story doesn't always end there. Me and my fellow members of the art team, Sarah, Tiffany, Emily, Kayla, Shannon, Suji, and Min, have been working to advocate for survivors, not just with words, but with art. Having tangible, physical visuals forces people to face and acknowledge the issue directly. In this piece, a phoenix rises from the darkness, just like survivors of violence, representing their transformation from a victim to a survivor. They deserve to be seen not for what was done to them, but for their strength, their endurance, and their unshakable spirit. There are days they may feel powerful, and days they may feel broken. But through it all, we see you, we believe you, and we will never stop fighting for you.
When we bring up the topic of sexual abuse, it's understandable that most of us will be uncomfortable. But we must push through that discomfort. Don't place a comfortable barrier of distance between yourself and sexual assault. You must look at it, dare to stare deep into the eyes of this injustice, and challenge it. To see is to believe that this is a real issue in our society today, to believe that we can put an end to this abuse, to believe that you can and will be a part of a fight for a violence-free future. One way we can bring attention to these issues is through art. We can force the public eye to see what they want to ignore. The goal of our art team is to spotlight the voices of survivors. Their struggles and their perseverance should be recognized. We want everyone to realize there's a real present issue plaguing our community, and we want you to speak up against it. We want you to open your eyes and truly see. Through our visual signs, the art team hopes to be a catalyst of change, inspiring everyone to actively fight against sexual assault, to secure a future where no one is made a victim of injustice. We also want to thank Oscar for working with YCPT to create these 3 pieces to show our support for sexual assault survivors and to convey our unwavering dedication to advocacy. Thank you.
And now we will have our last student speaker from the YCPT. We have Asala. Please look at this banner for a moment. It represents the collaborative spirit of our community. Its community project team students worked in a small groups to cut and design fabric scraps, and then KAFSC's Economic Empowerment Program students wove these pieces together to form the letter RASA, our rally against sexual assault. Last year, YCPT and students from KAFSC's sewing class collaborated on an artwork made of 40 individual fabric scraps woven together into a large banner. We are proud to make this an annual tradition. Each year we deepen our commitment to advocacy through collaboration, hoping that with each stitch we spark change. With the invaluable support of students from the Economic Empowerment Program, the older generation and YCPT's youth generation came together, bridging generations in a shared effort to combat sexual violence. That's what makes this project so meaningful. By involving both YCPT and EEP students, we keep intergenerational dialogue alive. This is what we need, all generations working together toward a better society. We will not remain silent. Please join us in speaking out. Thank you, everyone.
Denim Day has been our reminder that our fight against sexual assault is ongoing and more important than ever. This year, Denim Day is on April 30th. We hope you will join us in challenging victim blaming and standing in solidarity with survivors.
Now we will reveal the art piece that Oscar and the art team have been collaborating on throughout the rally.
Can we get an applause, please? Clap it up, guys. Clap it up.
Thank you to Oscar and the art team for working on this art piece throughout the rally.
That wraps up all our speakers and activities for this year's rally against sexual assault. Let us be reminded that clothing does not cause assault, and it's each of us responsibilities to stand up to violence when we see it. Do not let violence go unnoticed. Do not let the voices of survivors go unheard.
Most of all, we hope that every survivor out there knows that they are not alone, nor defined by the violence that tried to confine them. Like birds of a feather, we as a community should stick together, working for the safety of generations ahead. We would like to end off with chanting one last time together. When I say break the chains, you say end the pain. Ready?
Break the chains!
End the pain!
Break the chains!
End the pain!
Break the chains!
End the pain!
Thank you to all the representatives, community leaders, and students from across the boroughs for your time and attendance at RASA 2025. Please round up here for a group picture, please.
오늘 이렇게 Rally Against Sexual Assault를 성공적으로 마무리돼서 너무 기쁜데요. 우리가 이 성폭력이 없는 그날까지 매년 할 테니까 많은 응원 부탁드리고 감사드립니다.